I've had cancer. I would probably say 30–40% of the people have had cancer.
That's really the struggle, trying to keep these kids away from the danger zone.
My dad had prostate cancer. He had lung cancer 10, 12 years later, and then he died from bronchial cancer.
Cancer Alley. It's an 85-mile stretch from New Orleans to Baton Rouge along the Mississippi River, all surrounded by roughly 150 industrial plants.
On our journey to visit all 50 states, we wanted to explore one of the most polluted places in America and discover the truth about industry's impact on people's lives. Welcome to Cancer Alley, Louisiana.
We started where it only made sense to, by investigating one of the plants. The security lady just told us that if she was us, she would back up, gently leave the facility, and do not record. So we are getting out of here.
But we don't give up easy on a story, so we tried filming some B-roll from a public path.
Like a minute later, this lady comes up with a big flashing lights truck, and we're on the bike path right now. She said she's gonna follow us all the way until we hit the road, and she seemed really mad. They really do not like people trying to make things about their plant.
We have been driving around for hours trying to find a plant worker to talk to. And those that we have found are really quick to say no. So it's making it really tough because we really want to share this perspective in this video. It's important because these plants do create a lot of jobs for this community. But I think people are afraid that they'll be fired or get in trouble at their job or something like that, which makes a lot of sense.
Without plant workers willing to talk to us, we decided to chat with everyday locals.
Welcome to Greg's Supermarket here in Reserve, Louisiana. I'm just gonna go try to talk to some people who frequent this place and are from town.
I'm Ricky Vickner. I've been living here for like 45 years.
What are some of the best things and also the biggest challenges of living here?
If you like to work at a refinery or something, it's fine. But I was a fisherman all my life, so I just couldn't do that, you know.
What is the deal with the refineries?
It's a good money maker. I mean, especially like kids like your age and stuff. I mean, you can't find a more profitable job going to like a tech school or something like that. And, you know, you're retiring under 30 years usually, and a lot of people do have concerns. I've had cancer. I mean, I would probably say 30–40% of the people have had cancer in this area.
That high?
Yeah, it's bad. On my street, just within 7 houses, we had 5 different people had cancer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And you think it's because of the plants? Like what contributes to it?
I think it has to. I mean, you know, my family never had cancer before. They lived in months where it really didn't have the refineries. And my dad was a farmer and stuff. We ate all fresh foods and stuff like that. Canned goods and these refineries aren't the best for you.
Okay, what's your favorite thing about living here?
It's quiet. Not that many cops riding around. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, where there's cops all day, every day. So I love it out here.
So you two are related?
Yeah.
I have no idea. He says we are. I don't.
Yeah.
We used to have things that you could go to, skating rings, bowling alleys, you name it. We had it around here at one time, and we have nothing anymore. It's kind of boring around here at the moment. I wish they would put some things for people to do, for young people to do. There's nothing for old or young people to do here anymore. The hurricane destroyed a lot here. That I can tell you about. It destroyed my house. My house had to be totally gutted and rebuilt. Businesses were destroyed just to smithereens. It was bad here for a good solid year. It was really rough. I stayed here for the hurricane, and it was the most scariest thing I've ever been through. It really was. This place was closed for, I don't know, 2 weeks, I think, something like that. I lived in a FEMA trailer in my front yard for a year, waiting on my place to get put back together. Thank goodness I had that flood insurance, that's so high, but I had it. I have a stepson who passed away of cancer, and he was only 30 years old. And it's not something that I want to catch, I guarantee you. But that's all due because of all these plants. And we do live around here. I mean, I guess nobody forces us to stay, but nobody's paying us off to leave either. So that's about it.
Is it a struggle for people around here to have access to healthy food?
A lot of people, yeah, you got a lot of people low income.
And despite all of that, you're still here. So what is it that made you stay?
I mean, it's my roots. I mean, just pretty much everybody gets along, I mean, blacks, white, I mean, we all grew up together.
Just got a free drink from the cashiers at the supermarket. Super nice of them.
As we were filming this episode, we came across a few people who didn't want to be on camera, but whose perspectives were worth sharing.
On one hand, many people whose family members worked in the plants told us that the pollution was not so different than any other unhealthy habit. They attributed much of the area's issues to people's lifestyle choices, such as drinking and smoking. And they also noted that these plants bring in a lot of high-paying jobs to the area, making sure that families have enough to support themselves.
However, the people in the area had a 95% greater chance of developing cancer, according to the research articles that have been put out there. A big part of this is because of a compound called ethylene oxide, which is at more than double the EPA standard for a substantial risk of cancer. However, the courts have continuously ruled against the EPA, and that's made it harder for the residents who are concerned about the pollution in the area to continue living a healthy lifestyle. This was particularly frustrating for a lot of African Americans we met because while they made up about 70% of the working age population, they only made up 28% of the workforce in the area. So they received the harms from the plants, but not the job benefits that other people were getting. Overall, it's pretty complicated, and there's a lot of disagreement within the community, but we wanted to take a moment to share the perspectives from both sides of the debate.
My name is Elgin Bailey. I'm born and raised in Louisiana. I've been from from New Orleans all the way to Baton Rouge.
And what are you doing out here today?
I'm coaching my kids, trying to help the youth, man, keep them out of the street, steer them straight or not. I mean, we save them, we save everybody, they the future. Get somebody to look up to, that's all.
What are some of the challenges of living in this area with so much industry in the region?
Good jobs, man. We really don't have good jobs just right here in this area, so we really got to go far to really find jobs and stuff to keep everybody, I guess, stable. Everybody off from school, I mean, they only have the parks and the streets. That's really the struggle, trying to keep these kids away from the danger zone. Man, when I was growing up, trouble is so easy to get into, and it's way easier to get into as of right now, because it only got worse. So me, myself, I stayed in basketball, doing the same thing I'm doing with these kids right now. They had a group of guys older than I was, and they came, got me.
Is your son on this team?
Yes, my son is right there jumping the ball.
Yeah, cool.
My hopes for him, for him to have the ability to do anything that he want to do. I let him know first is school first. You're nothing without the knowledge. You gotta get knowledge, and everything else gonna come to you, or not. So I mean, you try your best, you go get your best.
Both of my parents, between my mom and my dad, they have had cancer 6 times in this household. My dad had prostate cancer. He had lung cancer 10, 12 years later, and then he died from bronchial cancer. He went to the Korean War, and he was in Japan 6 years. He died at age 77. My mom had breast cancer. She survived with no treatment. Then she had colon cancer 9 years later, and she survived that with no treatment. And then at age 89, she had ovarian cancer. And I took care of all of them through it all, you know. But she lived a good life. Now, one thing we used to do when I was coming up, my dad always played music. Well, my grandmother had a bar. And when we would go to my grandmother, he'd always put a nickel in the jukebox and we danced. With all my cousins, yes. And we had plenty of them. Matter of fact, I think I had 42 first cousins.
Oh my God.
Yes. We moved here in 1964. My baby sister was 1 year old. My neighbor moved in 64. DuPont had purchased this property over here, and they started their refinery in 1964. Okay. DuPont did put out a lot of pollution. Yes, they did. Because my dad had a lot of fruit trees. We grew a lot of vegetables. We grew a lot of trees. And if you can see around, there's no trees in this yard. Because with the pollution that they would put out, it was so bad, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you could smell it. I mean, it was like air. It was so bad. They had EPA in their pocket. They never got fined. They never got fussed at. They never got regulated or nothing. You got Monsanto and all of these plants on the West Bank. You got Marathon, which is the second largest refinery in the United States, okay? If the wind blows from the west, you get Marathon. Or you getting across the river at Occidental and all those other plants. If the wind blows from the east, you getting Shell and all the other Monsanto and all those plants on the West Bank. So how are you to determine what chemical, what aspect is in the air at any particular time? You know, progress needs to go forward, you know. But if people don't do, or industries don't do, or be held accountable for what they need to do to preserve life, it's a problem. Or they want Denker to shut down. They're not going to shut down because they make so many safe and reliable things that we use every day that they don't realize, you know. But at some point in time, things can be controlled. Yes, it can. And if people and companies are willing to do what they need to do and stop playing politics and stop playing go-betweens or buddy-buddy, you're not going to have this problem. My grandson, he drove this car for 5 years. He got stopped 5 times. And his mom always told him, no matter what, you be polite, you answer their questions, and let it be. Well, the last time he got stopped, my grandson came home and he cried. Because what they did, they stopped him. It was him and 3 of his buddies from high school. And these were good kids. You know, no drugs, no alcohol, none of that. They were good kids, you know. They made my grandson go to the front of their vehicle and they searched my daughter's husband's car. They opened the glove compartment and they found his badge. So then they come and ask my grandson, who is this for? He said, that's for my stepdad. He could have been rude and told him, if you ran a license plate, you would have seen it was owned by a police car. But no, they didn't do that. They were searching for something. And it made my grandson so uncomfortable. After the 5th time, that's why I have very little regard for the police. I have very little respect for the police. Because every time we've needed them, every time we've called them, nothing good ever came about it. And they didn't help us. So what good is that? Huh? What good is that? None. The governor we have now, he's a joke. The things he's doing, it's not for the betterment of everybody. Just like he made this gun law, everybody can carry concealed weapons. Oh, you crazy? He just opened a can of worms. You got 10-year-olds who can carry concealed weapons. That's what the law states now. It didn't say you gotta have a permit. And what are guns made for? To shoot. And when you shoot, you're gonna kill or be killed. I'm the type of person, I believe in God. God is foremost my leader, my guidance, for everything all the time. And I constantly pray. I pray for children, I pray for my children, I pray for other people's children, I pray for people in the community, I pray with other people, I pray for other people, I even pray for myself and thank God too. Because without him, there would be no peace at no time and no place. And only God can give me that peace. Man cannot do it no matter what, you know. So I try to instill in my kids and my grandkids, trust God, do the right thing, and everything's going to work out. Because God wants us to live. God wants us to be happy. And if we can find happiness in anything and everything, that's a plus. But as far as the law, the politics in this state, they're not for the people. Not about the people. No whatsoever.